All right, all right, all right. Good evening, fellow decoders and matrix truthers. Happy Saturday. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you guys. We'll wait for a few more people to join. Really excited to share just how big this death was and just how connected it is. I got a lot to talk about in this video. Welcome, Mike and Joni and Kaspirizin. Welcome. Hope you guys are all having a good evening. Hope you guys' Saturday is peaceful, relaxing. We'll wait for a few more people to join in, and then we'll get started here. Yeah, Brother Joseph over at Joseph Aquaviva 2222. Much love to him. Brilliant decoder. Thank you. Thank all of you guys who have come over recently from his channel. Much love to him and all of you. God bless. Welcome, Toros. Welcome, Deborah and Debbie and Juliet and Jesse and Ozzy. Yep, Bray Wyatt's famous saying, "Let me in," right? We're going to talk about that. What are we letting in? Well, we're going to talk about it. Thank you for subscribing, Ozzy. Appreciate you. Yeah, thanks, Jesse, I'm glad we're able to have our schedules aligned so you can catch a live stream. Looks like we got 17 of you. Usually on Saturdays, on the weekends, people are probably busy doing fun things, right? So I don't think the live stream will be quite as full, but we'll wait about another 2 minutes and then we'll get started. And like today, I don't know if you guys saw my post in my community section. There was a shooting in Boston, and it's connected to this Bray Wyatt thing. So I'll probably go over that here too. So just so you guys know. But I do got to point out something about shootings. We all know that shooting has a similar gematria as Saturday. So you're always going to get they tend to do a lot of shootings on Saturdays. Let's put it that way. Shooting equals 107 and 109, just like Saturday. And there's an interesting day coming up, October 7th, which is a Saturday. And what's interesting is October 7th is 107, like shooting equals 107, like Saturday equals 107. And October 7th is 107, and it's a Saturday this year. So watch out for October 7th. Don't be surprised if we have a shooting in the news on that day or something. And this October 7th is very connected to Bray Wyatt as well, and I'm going to talk about him here. So anyway, let's get started. We got 20 in the chat. Thank you, guys. So if you guys watched my last video a couple days ago, the wrestler Bray Wyatt died of a heart attack on the chairman of WWE's birthday, Vince McMahon, okay? So that was the first clue. I mean, what's the chances that Bray Wyatt wrestles for the company and then he dies on the owner's birthday? What a ritual sacrifice. If he's even dead, guys. I mean, we don't even know for sure if this guy is dead, but we're just going off what they're telling us, right? But let me go over to the gematria first of all. I mean, he dies at 36, and he dies of a heart attack, okay? And Bray Wyatt played many characters throughout the years. Let me bring up this picture. When Bray Wyatt first broke onto the scene, he was part of a group called the Wyatt family, which was like a cult, right? It was like a really dark satanic cult, right? And then eventually he switched to this character, the Fiend. And the Fiend is a representation of COVID, and it's a demon, okay? He was possessed by a demon, and that's why when Bray Wyatt's famous saying is, "Let me in." So we're letting in a demonic possession, essentially. He plays a demon, and then he says, "Let me in," right? And then he walks around with a lantern, and everyone holds up their phones. The lights are dark, and everyone holds up their phone, and he calls them his fireflies, okay? So I'm going to get into all that, okay? But let's just start this out with really going over the basic gematria of this ritual, as I said in the last video, but I found a few more 36s to go with the ritual, okay? So Bray Wyatt dies at 36, and his name, Bray Wyatt, equals 36, okay? And he dies of a heart attack, which equals 36, and he died of a heart attack brought on by COVID-19. And what do all these things equal? COVID-19 equals 36. That caused him to have a heart attack, which equals 36. And his name, Bray Wyatt, equals 36. His middle name is Lawrence, and that also equals 36. And his first name is Windham, which also equals 36 in 2 ciphers, like the word demonic. Okay, do you guys see this? He plays the demonic possessive character, and his name, Wyndham, equals demonic in 2 ciphers, 36, just like he dies at 36, and all of his names equal 36. His middle name, his first name, his stage name. He dies of a heart attack that equals 30. This is the most obvious thing I've ever seen in my life. Also, I told you that he called his followers fireflies, and he had a skit called, let me bring it up so you guys can see. He had a skit called Firefly Funhouse. Okay, he called this the Firefly Funhouse. Okay, and this is where he did these weird rituals, all kinds of like kids games, but it's very demonic with this witch doll and with this buzzard. He had a couple different sayings. He would say, "Let me in," "Follow the buzzards," okay? And he called his followers fireflies, okay? So I'm going to go back over to gematria just to bring it all together, okay? So again, I told you all of his names equal 36. He died of COVID basically that caused a heart attack. That equals 36. And then his followers are fireflies, and firefly equals 36. Okay. Not only that, his phrase that he would say often is "follow the buzzards." And a buzzard, if you type in buzzards, it also equals 36. So his whole career is scripted around the number 36. And he dies at 36. And Bray Wyatt his last match was the 36th annual Royal Rumble. So what are the chances, guys? All those things I just showed you in his career equals 36, like demonic equals 36. His first name equals demonic. Okay? His first name, Wyndham, equals demonic in 2 ciphers, and both ciphers are 36. Okay? And then his last match was at the Royal Rumble this year on January 28th, and that was the 36th Royal Rumble. So the last match he ever wrestled was at the 36th Royal Rumble. And guess what Royal Rumble equals in Chaldean? 36. So if this is all you really need, then this is all you really need right here to see it was a ritual. And he died on the owner of WWE's birthday, right? But his last match was at WrestleMania or at Royal Rumble, and Royal Rumble equals 36. And his last match was at the 36th Royal Rumble. And the 36th Royal Rumble was all these people looking up to the sky, seeing lightning coming from heaven, kind of like Satan falling like lightning from heaven, right? And notice that Bray Wyatt is not on the cover. Everyone else is looking up, and Bray Wyatt is the one who supposedly is falling, just like he ended up dying, right? And the Royal Rumble, again, was the 36th Royal Rumble, and it was on January 28th this year, okay? Now, what's interesting here, so Kelly's saying in the chat that he apparently was 6'3". Okay, let's look that up. Let me just look that up. Bray Wyatt height. My computer's being a little slow, so give me the benefit of the doubt there. So apparently, if his height is truly 6'3", okay, well, it doesn't give me in inches. Yeah, it says he's 6'3". Look at that. Yeah, look at that. 6'3", which is the reverse of 36, right? And all of his numbers are 36. Okay? And guess when he was the champion in WWE? When he was the demon character, which equals 36, demonic equals 36, like his first name. And when did Bray Wyatt become champion? He was champion at the 36th WrestleMania, which happened during what, guys? The COVID pandemic, okay? And what does COVID-19 equal, like his name? It equals 36. His character was a representation of COVID-19. That's what they're telling us. He was the champion of the WWE when COVID started. And he was at WrestleMania 36, just like his last match was at Royal Rumble 36. And you'll notice here that, again, he had a Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania 36. And what did I tell you Firefly equals? It equals 36. Okay, so at WrestleMania 36, he was the champion during COVID-19, which equals 36. All right, and he's 6'3", which is the reverse of 36. It's just all so perfect, right? It's all so perfect. And what's even more interesting here is not only did he have a Firefly Funhouse at WrestleMania 36, and Firefly equals 36, his last match was at Royal Rumble 36, okay, before he died. And basically, let me see here, guys. Let's see. The guy that so let me bring up this list. So you guys might also know, if you know wrestling, the current WWE champion, Universal Champion, is Roman Reigns, kind of like the Roman Catholic Church, right? Well, the last man to hold the title before Roman Reigns was Bray Wyatt. Okay? Roman Reigns won the title against Bray Wyatt on August 30th, 2020. And since then, he has never lost the title. So Bray Wyatt was the last person to hold the title. And guess how many days that's been, guys? You got to think, August 30th, 2020. What year are we in? We're in August. We're almost at August 30th, 2023. Almost 3 years that Roman Reigns has held the title, and the last person he beat was the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. He beat COVID. The Fiend represents COVID, the demonic possession, okay, like all the 36s. And again, Roman Reigns has never lost. And the show that Roman Reigns beat the Fiend at to win his championship 3 years ago was called Payback. And guess what? The next show that WWE is having on September 2nd this year, it's called Payback. So we're coming full circle, guys. 3 years ago, the Fiend lost, and now the same show is happening in a few days. And now right before that, Bray Wyatt dies in a ritual. So I just wanted to point that out, because Roman Reigns represents basically the reign of Rome, right? That's what his name means, the reign of Rome. And he defeated the coronavirus, right? COVID, which represented by Bray Wyatt. So anyways, there's a lot more interesting stuff here than that, but just the basic connection here is the 36s. Yeah, and he was Bray Wyatt was supposed to return soon to wrestling, and then he just died on Vince McMahon's birthday, right? All right, so let's move on from the 36. His whole career is scripted around that number. You guys know that by now. The next thing that you guys need to know is this. And this is where it gets really interesting. All right. So this is called what we call the Latin cipher. This is what we call the Latin or Jewish cipher. Okay. And if you talk to Derek, who created the gematria calculator, he considers this cipher to be probably one of the most important, if not the most important cipher. And I'm going to show you why I believe he's right on that. And I'm going to show you why it's connected perfectly with Bray Wyatt. I want you guys to notice that Bray Wyatt in Jewish gematria equals a year. He equals the year 1984. When I saw this, I was like, 1984. Well, we know that's a big year. We know the movie The Terminator came out that year. We know the movie, the movie based off the book 1984 came out that year. And that was about dystopian society, right? And so I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. Bray Wyatt equals 1984. But how does this connect with everything else? And then I decided to do a really interesting find. I decided to go back 1984 days from his death because his name equals 1984, right? So I went back 1984 days from his death, which was August 24th. And what did I get? Much to my surprise, I got March 19th, 2018. Now, at first glance, it's like, okay, what's important about this day? Because if you look in the news, I didn't really see anything in the specific news that was important on that day. But then I was like, I realized something. That was a Monday. And that means that day there was a wrestling event. So that means 1984 days back from Bray Wyatt's death was a wrestling event because they have their events on Monday night. And remember, guys, his name equals 1984. That's why I went back 1984 days, okay? So 1984 days lands us on 78th day of the year. And it was a day that they had a wrestling event. So watch this, guys. Watch this. This blew my mind. If you go back 1984 days from Bray Wyatt's death, because his name equals 1984, you land on this. On that night, 1984 days before his death, WWE headlined the show with Bray Wyatt. And guess what match he was in? The Ultimate Deletion match. The Ultimate Deletion match. And in this match, Bray Wyatt gets killed, essentially, and deleted. So I just told you, I went back 1984 days because Bray Wyatt equals 1984. And I land on this day, March 19th, 2018. And on that very day, Bray Wyatt, sorry guys, let me go back. I lost the page. On that very day, 1984 days before, let me pull it up again. On that day, 1984 days before, like his name equals 1984, he gets deleted. He gets deleted, and at the end of this, he gets deleted by a guy named Matt Hardy. And at the end, Matt Hardy throws him in the lake of reincarnation. Okay? So this predicted his death, because 1984 days before his death, he gets thrown in the lake of reincarnation. But what happens when he gets thrown in there? When he gets thrown in the lake and they look for his body, they don't find it, which means he doesn't reincarnate, which means he's dead. He gets deleted. And if you actually watch this, go on YouTube, guys, and watch the video of this match, and you're going to see that it predicted his death. And it predicted his death 1,984 days before it happened. It clearly predicts it. And again, his name equals 1984. So again, guys, gematria is no joke. This stuff is super accurate. And there's so much more to it than even this, because now we're going to look at the year 1984, right? Because now, and if you go to this match, let me just pull this match up, okay? Let me just go to YouTube. Let me pull this match up. Let me kind of walk you through this, because there's a lot to explain here. Okay, so again, if you go back 1984 days, you land on the ultimate deletion match, where Bray Wyatt is essentially thrown in the lake of reincarnation. He's gone forever. Okay. And actually, if you read the synopsis, shit, hold on. All right. So notice that it says, and again, Bray Wyatt, he played a cult leader, right? And in this, he's entering into this facility called the Hardy, something like the Hardy confinement or something. And during this, he's carrying his lantern, right? But what I found interesting is that during this match, there's this drone. Let me see if I can find this drone. See, this is just, you guys got to watch this. I mean, you don't need to watch the whole thing, but this predicted his death. I wish I could actually play the video, but I'll never keep this video up if I play it. Okay, so look at this, guys. There is a drone in this match, and every time Bray Wyatt goes to attack the other guy he's facing, Matt Hardy, the drone shoots at him or causes explosions or causes fires, right? And do you guys remember that in 1984, the movie Terminator came out, and this movie is called The Ultimate Deletion, right? Which is like termination, deletion, termination. And in this match, they have this machine that actually costs him the match, because what happens is this machine distracts him and he loses and gets thrown into the lake. I mean, I'll show you. He loses the match and then he gets thrown into the lake of reincarnation. And then they go to look for his carcass and they can't find it, right? And what I'm saying here is this is heavily connected with Bray Wyatt, because the last match he was in was the pitch black match. I talked about this in my last video. Now remember, this whole month has been about the Mountain Dew connection, right? And these are called directed energy weapons. Mountain Dew, Dew stands for directed energy weapons. And these drones in his match, in his ultimate deletion match, represent these weapons, these machines, right? This this authoritative society that was written about in 1984 book by George Orwell, right? Where it's a totalitarian society, right? And machines are essentially what could bring that about, right? They have drones that they use to calculate our every move. Didn't they do that in China during COVID? They had drones guarding so that if someone went out, they would get fined money, right? So these drones in this match are connected to 1984, because if you go back 1984 days from Bray Wyatt's death, you land, his name equals 1984, and you land on this match with the drones. And this connects to the movie Terminator. I'm going to show that in a minute. But what's interesting is Bray Wyatt's last match was the Do match, directed energy weapons, okay? The Blackout. And we just had the Maui fires. And remember, Bray Wyatt had the show called the Firefly Funhouse. And he dies right after the Maui fires. And he dies after being in the Mountain Dew match. And most people are saying that the dews is what caused the fires, right? So anyways, look at this. So I just told you that Bray Wyatt equals 1984, but watch this. Now, it's not in the same cipher, guys, but look at what directed energy weapons equals in the triangular cipher. It equals 1984, like Bray Wyatt. And remember, if you go back 1984 days before his death, you land on the match where they have this weapon symbolism. And I'm telling you guys, the drones in the match represent the directed energy weapons and the Terminator stuff. So let me bring up Terminator. So everyone knows this movie, right? And it came out in 1984. I didn't mean to click on this. See, my computer just annoys me half the time here, guys. So this movie came out in 1984, like Bray Wyatt equals 1984. And of course, this is about a Terminator, just like the match that Bray Wyatt played in was the deletion match, like a termination, right? And again, this takes place in 1984 in Los Angeles. And who was Bray Wyatt's last opponent before he died? It was L.A. Knight, Los Angeles, right? And this movie takes place in Los Angeles in 1984. And if you type, so here's the other connection, guys. If you do gematria and you type in the number 185, you're going to get this crazy connection, right? I just told you that 1984 days before Bray Wyatt's death is the ultimate deletion match. Ultimate deletion equals the Terminator, 185. Now, what's interesting is it also equals Donald John Trump. And this is where we go in with the Trump connection, right? Trump was being indicted on that very day that Bray Wyatt died. And in fact, Trump was the main news that day because of his mugshot. But Donald John Trump equals 185, like the Terminator and like ultimate deletion. And who was the guy that ordered the COVID? And what did I just tell you Bray Wyatt represented? Bray Wyatt represents COVID. If you guys missed that, go back and watch the beginning. And I show you how he's connected to COVID, because remember, Bray Wyatt was the champion at WrestleMania, okay, during COVID, right? And his name equals COVID-19. So, again, Donald Trump was the president during that time. And in fact, Bray Wyatt performed at WrestleMania 36 in March. Look when he performed. He performed in March 2020, right after Trump declared the P word. And he was the champion. Bray Wyatt was the champion at that time. And that was the same month that they declared. Okay? But anyways, and then you get Bray Wyatt dying on Donald John Trump's day, on his fourth indictment, right? And the number 4 also connects to the book of Revelation, the 4 horsemen. Number 4 is all about death. Okay, so anyways, the Terminator 185, like ultimate deletion. And again, the match that Bray Wyatt dies in is called the ultimate deletion match. And I kind of want to just pull that up because I want you guys to read what they said about this match. And I need to look more into all this stuff too, guys, because let's see. I'm trying to see if I can pull this up. But anyways, this guy that he fought in the match is named Matt Hardy, right? And Matt Hardy is all about deletion, termination, right? And yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it here, but yeah, you guys can watch the video, okay? Because I can't play the video. I cannot play this match, but just go watch the end. Just click the video and go watch the very end and watch Bray Wyatt get thrown into the lake of reincarnation and watch him get deleted. And then 1984 days later, he dies, and his name equals 1984, okay? So anyways, like I said, guys, I wish I could play the video, but my channel or my video will be taken down, okay? So anyway, ultimate deletion equals Terminator, and the Terminator came out in 1984. Now, what other movie came out in 1984? Well, it was the George Orwell. Okay, hold on. It was the George Orwell 1984 movie. And remember, he wrote this book. George Orwell wrote the book 1984 in 1949. So here's where it gets even more crazy, guys. I already showed you the absolute insane connection. If you go back 1984 days from Bray Wyatt's death, you get to the deletion match, the death match. But if you go from the release of the 1984 book by George Orwell to the death of Bray Wyatt, or sorry, guys, it's not the death. Sorry, it's the match, the deletion match. Oh no, to Bray Wyatt's birthday. Sorry, I'm mixing things up, guys. So if you go from the release of the book 1984, which is this date right here, June 8th, 1949, to Bray Wyatt's birthday, which is 5/23/1987. Look at what you get, guys. Look at this. If you go from 1984 book release to Bray Wyatt's actual birthday, you get 1984. Look. 1980 weeks and 4 days. What does that read to you? 1984. From 1984 release to Bray Wyatt's birthday, 1984. And what does Bray Wyatt equal? Sorry. 1984. So Bray Wyatt, again, if you look at the Jewish cipher, this is an important cipher. And I don't think I'm going to start using this cipher more because there's no doubt in my mind that there's a reason why Bray Wyatt equals 1984, because I already showed you 2 connections that point us to him being connected to it. And look what equals 1984, directed energy weapons. And when was Bray Wyatt born? Bray Wyatt was born on 2/3/5, May 23rd. If you write that 2/3/5, and what does directed energy weapons equal? Bray Wyatt was born on 2/3/5, and directed energy weapons equals 2/3/5. And his famous show that he had, Firefly Funhouse match, that he had at WrestleMania 36 also equals 235. And don't forget, he died on Kobe Bryant Day, and Kobe Bryant was born on the 235th day of the year. Okay? So, anyways, George Orwell's 1984, you go forward 1984, and you land on his birthday. His actual birthday, his very day he's born. Okay, so yeah, you're probably right about the Pee Wee Herman connection, because remember, Pee Wee Herman had the Pee Wee Herman Playhouse, and then Bray Wyatt died, and he had the Firefly Funhouse, right? But it all connects to this Pitch Black match, which was his last match, and there's no coincidence that the whole match was sponsored by Mountain Dew, which is directed energy weapons. Okay. Yes, you're right. He was also known as the Eater of Worlds. Yeah, that's a good question, Juliet. So because Bray Wyatt represents C19 and he was deleted, right? Does that mean that they're deleting C19? I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of theories we could think here, but I mean, I'm gonna have to do more research on it. Like I said, this is just my initial findings, guys, and I got more. This isn't even over yet. So the next thing I want to talk about is Bray Wyatt's Instagram, and this is just crazy, guys. Bray Wyatt's Instagram was telling us about his death well before it happened. Okay, so you have this video right here. This video was posted. Let me bring it up. This video was posted on December 10th, 2022. And Bray Wyatt gets on his Instagram and he makes a video, and he's very sad. And he says, my uncle, who was also a wrestler, his uncle was a wrestler, and he actually got his name from his uncle. His first name, Wyndham, he got it from his uncle. And he gets on his Instagram and he says, my uncle almost died of a heart attack. But yet he said that his uncle was saved by some paramedic, right? But what's crazy is Bray Wyatt would be the one to eventually die from a heart attack. So one of his last Instagram posts was December 10th, 2022, well before he died, right? Let me see what the measurement is from that. Oh, look at that, guys. So remember, his big number is the 36. Bray Wyatt equals 36. He dies of a heart attack. Heart attack equals 36. And 36 weeks before he dies of a heart attack, which equals 36, he gets on his Instagram and he says his uncle almost died of a heart attack. That's literally what he says in this video, guys. He says, my uncle almost died of a heart attack. And then 36 weeks later, he dies of a heart attack. And heart attack equals 36. Like Bray Wyatt. Like COVID-19. Like Firefly. Like Wyndham, his first name, where his uncle gave him his first name, Wyndham, and that equals 36. So look how sad he is in this video. And I think he knows his own death is coming. And this story about his uncle almost dying of a heart condition, and then he dies of a heart condition, okay? And that's not even it, guys. The very last thing he posted on his Instagram is this. This is the very last thing he posted on his Instagram, and it was promoting his Pitch Black match. And the very last thing he wrote was, enjoy the light while it lasts. The dark is calling for you. So again, I already showed you how this date connects because he posted this the same day as the Pitch Black match on January 28th. In the very last post he ever makes, he says, "Enjoy the light while it lasts. The dark is calling for you." If that doesn't sound like a prediction of something dying, then I don't know what else does. And again, I already showed you so much other stuff. There's so much stuff in his career that was pointing to his death, right, on that day. But the other big thing here is this. And this is the most intriguing part of this, I think. His symbol, let me show you his symbol. The symbol that he started using when he came back to the WWE last year was an upside down moth. Let me wait for this to load. Hold on. Okay, so this is Bray Wyatt's symbol. This is the symbol he started using when he came back to the WWE last year. So right before his death, essentially. And this symbol is based off of the Silence of the Lambs. So this movie, he drew a lot of inspiration in his characters from this movie, The Silence of the Lambs, about Hannibal Lecter. I'm sure you guys know this. And on the front of the Silence of the Lambs is what they call a death's head hawk moth. A death's head hawk moth. And look at this. The death's head hawk moth is a rebel of a moth world, strikingly large with a skull-like marking on its thorax and the ability to speak or to squeak when it's alarmed. The moth has traditionally been seen as an omen of death. So this is the symbol that he starts to use right before his death. And if you look more into this symbol, it actually says that there used to be a superstition that whenever you saw this moth, there would be a death in the family. And there's a reason why when Triple H announced his death, he specifically said a longtime member of the WWE family, just like Wyatt was part of the Wyatt family. His first group was called the Wyatt family, which was a cult, and it represents skull and bones. Again, and what's coming this year, guys? The 322 anniversary of Yale, Skull and Bones. And this is what Bray Wyatt really represents. He represents Skull and Bones, the brotherhood of death. And he represents that based off of his symbol. And look at these things. These things are so intriguing. And I want you guys to remember that these moths were not created by man. These were created by God, but they're very intriguing, right? There looks like a skull on the back of them. I mean, I don't know what created this moth, but I don't know. Maybe humans digitally or did something with DNA in a moth and created something like this, but these things are real and they're very intriguing. And they're omens of death. And Bray Wyatt was using this right before his death. And his hawk moth was upside down, right? Which points to the grave. So again, there's more to look at when it comes to this hawk moth and the movie Silence of the Lambs, right? And what's interesting is Bray Wyatt was known for being a very good speaker. And it's interesting that he took reference from the Silence of the Lambs, and his trademark was being a good speaker, right? And what do you do when you silence somebody? You stop them from speaking. And it's interesting that in this movie, they have the Bray Wyatt symbol is covering her mouth, and she's no longer allowed to speak, right? And I think this also represents the tyranny that they want to bring on us and not giving us free speech. I can't even talk on certain subjects, right? So again, it's silencing of the lambs. So anyways, Bray Wyatt, let me see if I missed any gematria connections here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think I really missed any gematria. There's more I could say here, but I don't want to make this too extensive. I just wanted to point out the clear symbolism of Bray Wyatt showing us that his death was coming and how perfectly scripted that it was. And interestingly enough, we have a Friday the 13th coming up, right? And that's what points me to the future, guys. So I said that this is telling us a lot about the future, okay? We had 2 Friday the 13th in this year, 2023. But the next Friday the 13th is on October 13th. Last year, okay, wow. Thank you, Q Sarah. I really appreciate that super chat. Thank you so much. That's very generous of you. Yeah, I don't know what to say. That's very generous. Thank you so much. Anyways, on October 13th, we have a Friday the 13th. And this comes only a few days after October 9th. So let's see here. Hold on. So October 9th this year is the 322nd anniversary. It's the 322nd anniversary of Yale. And Yale, I already told you that this is all about Skull and Bones, guys. We're in the Skull and Bones year. And guess where Yale is located, guys? It's located in the same state that WWE is located. Yale is located in Connecticut, New Haven, Connecticut, and WWE, the company that Bray Wyatt wrestled for, is located in Connecticut. Now, remember, Bray Wyatt's last match was all about the lightning bolt and the electricity going out, right? And in gematria, let me just show this. Lightning bolt equals 149. Skull and Bones equals 149. Let me just simplify it here. Sorry, my computer's loading, guys. All right, clear. Let me just make this clear for you guys to see here. So Skull and Bones, 149. Lightning Bolt, 149. Bray Wyatt's last match was all about lightning. Okay? Lightning from heaven. Skull and Bones, Satan falling like lightning from heaven. All right? Yale University equals Lightning Bolt. And their 322 anniversary is coming up. So, and a few days later is Friday the 13th. Okay, but let me just show you the 322 anniversary, just so you guys can see that I'm not lying to you about that. I know you guys trust me, but I don't even remember what year that they were founded. Hold on. 1701. Okay, so 1701. So again, guys, 322 years since Yale was founded. And remember, the Brotherhood of Death, just like Bray Wyatt just died, the Brotherhood of Death, Skull and Bones, is based out of Yale, and their 322nd anniversary is coming up. and we're in the year 223. And what does electromagnetic pulse equal, right? Let me look this up. So electromagnetic pulse equals 223, and we're in the year 223, and Skull and Bones equals 223, all right? So are they going to do a big blackout ritual this year? Remember, we already had the directed energy weapons take down or cause a Maui burst, like Mountain Dew Maui burst, and then we had the Baja blast, the hurricane that hit Baja. And what's the next Mountain Dew ritual? Is that the pitch black, Mountain Dew pitch black? And there's a lot more to say here, guys. I have a lot more information to share, but I just kind of want to stop it here because I might do a part 2. If you guys have watched my blackouts have commenced videos, I've done extensive work on the blackout. It's my most talked about topic on this channel, and this year has already been very interesting. And I'm just wondering if we're going to see it this year, or are we going to see it in 2024, 2025? Remember, I've already made connections to a blackout in 2025, but are we going to see one before that? I don't know, but Bray Wyatt dying is not a good sign, in my opinion, because he was the symbol of that. And again, guys, Yale, I want you guys to notice something about Bray Wyatt's connection to Yale. Yale is all about the letter Y, which is like the serpent's tongue, right? The Y is kind of like the snake's tongue. And Bray Wyatt, let me just show you this symbolism that I think they're telling us here. Bray Wyatt, his name is Wyatt, right? Well, notice that the name Wyatt, if you take the W and you take out the Y, which is the serpent's tongue, which represents Yale, right? Yale University with the Y right in the middle. But what happens if you take away the Yale? What do you get? You get the word watt. And what is that connected to? Electricity. So again, and guess who also died a few years ago on the same day Bray Wyatt died? Let me show you this, guys. Do you remember the drummer for the Rolling Stones who sang the song Paint It Black? His name was Charlie Watts, which is one letter off from Wyatt. Watt is one letter off from Wyatt. And what day did Charlie Watts die? He died 2 years to the day that Bray Wyatt died. August 24th, 2021, and Bray Wyatt died 2 years to the day later, August 24th, 2023. And his name, Watts, is one name off from Wyatt. Okay, here it is, guys. Watt and Wyatt. You see the connection here? And that also connects to Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. It connects to Friday the 13th. Go look up Friday the 13th, the blackout killing spree. If you look it up, the blackout killing spree, Friday the 13th, it'll come up. And remember, I told you that a few days after the anniversary of Yale is a Friday the 13th. And it's the 113. If you guys watched my 113 decode, and Kobe Bryant's connected to this, and Kobe Bryant was connected to that number, but I'm not going to get into that here. I'm just saying we gotta make sure we have some extra stuff on hand in case they decide to black us out. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get blacked out here in Albania. I don't know if this is going to be a United States thing. Is this going to be an England thing? Because what's interesting, guys, is Bray Wyatt's death moth. It's native to Europe. And remember, Charlie Watts is a English. So is there going to be a blackout in the United Kingdom this year before we get the United States one? I don't know. Or is it going to happen all over the world? Is there going to be a solar flare? And I want you guys to watch out for October 7th as well. Do you guys remember my decode from last year about the electricity game? If not, go back and watch my electricity game decodes. But last year on 10/6, they did a huge ritual in Denver, Colorado at EMP Field. Denver Broncos play at Empower Field at Mile High. Okay? And the quarterback for the Denver Broncos is Russell Carrington Wilson. And Carrington is the name for the Carrington event, which is the biggest solar flare that knocked out power in 1859. So the Denver Broncos play, let me just talk about this real fast. The Denver Broncos play at and remember, guys, we just had the Denver Nuggets win the championship. But the Denver Broncos play at EMP. You guys see the ritual symbolism here? EMP Power State Field at Mile High. Now, this is exactly conducive to a high altitude nuke, right? So their field literally says EMP at Mile High, which is basically a nuclear bomb that detonates at high altitudes, knocking out power. And this happens in multiple movies. If you guys go back and watch the show Jericho, there's an EMP attack. There's a high altitude EMP that they detonate over Kansas and Colorado in that show. There's so much stuff I could talk about here. I'm just saying, it could happen this year, guys. Look at this. I didn't realize, but Denver Stadium is at Bryant Street, like Kobe Bryant. That's interesting. Anyways, if you guys haven't watched my blackout videos, all that information is in those videos. So I don't want to go all the way. Oh, look, it opened on August 11th. 2001. Exactly 1 month before 9/11. Well, I got to really look into this stadium more. So this stadium, EMP, opened up 1 month exactly before 9/11. And it opened on August 11th, which is 118, which is tied to Pitch Black. Or not Pitch Black, but the Blackout, sorry. Which was the name of the show, 911 The Blackout. So the blackout equals 118, and that stadium opened on 118. Anyways, I'm going to go to the chat. Thank you guys for the donations. Wow, I'm super. I can't believe you donated so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. And thank you guys for the comments and the likes. Please hit the like button if you would. Like to get to 100 likes before the stream's over if I could. Let's see. EMP equals 34. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I need to look more into the word EMP because I've looked a lot into the phrase electromagnetic pulse, but I haven't looked into just EMP. But remember the blackout Super Bowl in 2013? I mean, there's so much stuff I could talk about here. Okay, yeah, thanks for reminding me. Again, guys, a lot of times in my comments, people act shocked when I forget things because for me, it's hard to remember all this stuff, guys. It really is. But yes, you're right. Kobe Bryant did have a shoe called the Kobe Blackout, which would perfectly connect to Bray Wyatt and to the Blackout. So yeah, the Matrix movie had an EMP. I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that one. Thank you, Ozzy. I appreciate you. Thanks you for subscribing. I want to thank all the new subscribers. Thank you guys so much. And I see Morgan is in the chat. Thank you, Morgan. He was on the stream the other night. Thank you also for all of your insights. I'm going to have him back on a live stream once I get to my next destination here in Albania. But yeah, guys, I'm sure that there's going to be other things I want to talk about here, and just notice that Bray Wyatt's symbol has the skull and bones right on it. It has the two lightning bolts crossing, and it has the skull, right? And skull and bones has the crossbones and then the skull, right? And then Bray Wyatt's symbol is upside down, and it has two lightning bolts, kind of like skull and bones equals lightning bolt. I just showed you that earlier. See, skull and bones and lightning bolts. As a matter of fact, look, 3 out of 4 cipher match, skull and bones, lightning bolt. Well, kind of 3 out of 4. You know what also I need to say is there could be a lot of symbolism here for Kamala Harris, but I'm not going to talk about that here, but there's a lot of interesting connections to her. Oh, I want to talk about October 7th, guys. October 7th, 2023 is the 85 days left in the year, kind of like blackout equals 85, okay? And pitch black equals 85, and Bray Wyatt was in the pitch black match, and Bray Wyatt returned to wrestling last year on this date, or around this date. He returned the next day, so it'll be his 1-year anniversary since his return. But anyways, so Bray Wyatt died on 8/24, right? Which was the same day Trump was indicted. And it's 44 days to October 7th, okay? So the death of Bray Wyatt and the indictment of Trump is 44 days. And yeah, it is Putin's birthday also. It is Putin's birthday. But the big connection here is shooting equals 107 and 44, like Saturday equals 10. So I just want you guys to notice these numbers here, okay? So shooting and Saturday equal 107. 107 is the 28th prime number. Bray Wyatt's last match was on the 28th day of the year. In gematria, shooting equals 44 and 107. If you go 44 days from Bray Wyatt's death, you get to 107, right? 10-7. Okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Shooting equals 44 and 107, and 44 days after Trump's indictment and after Bray Wyatt's death is Putin's birthday, and it's 107 like shooting, like military. Hold on. Let my computer load a minute. 107 is a huge number, guys, because 107 is the 28th prime, and 28 is a perfect number. But military equals 107, 109, 44. And earthquake so here it is, guys. Shooting, Saturday, military, and earthquake all have very similar gematria. And 44 days after Bray Wyatt is the 107. And again, shooting equals 107. Now, if you go from the Maui fires, you get 60 days from the first reporting of the Maui fires. Look at this. So the next election is the 60th presidential election. Donald Trump equals 60. Bidenomics equals 60. And Biden is talking a lot about Bidenomics right now, and Trump equals 60. Indictment equals 60. Zach Hubbard's been talking a lot about this connection between 60 and 4. Go watch his videos for that one. But anyways, 60 days after the Maui fires were first covered, which they were mainly covered on August 9th, which was also the day of the assassination of the presidential candidate in Ecuador. But notice that 60 days after the 60-date numerology, like Trump equals 60, like indictment, is 60 date numerology. And that is October 7th. So look for some sort of ritual in October, guys. There's so many days in October. October 7th. You got the 322 anniversary of Yale on October 9th. You got Friday the 13th on October 13th. And then you have the eclipse on October 14th. And then watch out for Halloween, because Halloween is superscripted with this as well, which would connect with Jason from Friday the 13th, right? Anyways, I know I've been babbling on about a bunch of different things, but there's a lot of stuff I wanted to bring up here. Wrestler deaths equals 60. That's interesting. Thank you, Rick, for posting that link. Rick just posted the link to my Buy Me a Coffee in the chat, guys, if you would like to donate. I appreciate any donations. You guys are awesome. So anyways, how long have we been on, guys? Nearly an hour. I think I'm going to take another 5 minutes and see if anyone comes up with anything else. Hopefully this whole decode made sense. There's a lot more to talk about with the 1984 connection. But again, I only have so much time in one video. Okay, so Jessica Lynn says October 23rd is when Trump has to go back to court. October 23rd is Ignatius of Loyola's birthday, the Jesuit order founder. That could be a big day. The Jesuit order, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder, his birthday, October 23rd. That's always what I think when I see that day. Was Bray Wyatt born in a rabbit year? Yeah, he sure was, wasn't he? Yeah, so he died in the same year that he was. Yep, he died in a rabbit year and he was born in a rabbit year. And guess what? I totally forgot that connection, guys. Bray Wyatt was teasing the White Rabbit when he came back last year. Watch this shit. This is absolutely insane. That's a good connection. I'm glad you mentioned that. So look at this. Bray Wyatt had a doll in his Firefly Funhouse called Rambling Rabbit. And before he returned last year, on October 8th, last year, to WWE, the WWE was performing rituals and promoting his return with a white rabbit symbolism. And the White Rabbit they were playing the song Jefferson Airplane's White Rabbit, which they played in the Matrix movie, right? That's a very famous song. I'm sure you guys know it. So Bray Wyatt dies in a rabbit year, and his symbol before he came back was the rabbit. And if you watch the video, let me pull this up. If you watch the video of Bray Wyatt's return, them hinting at Bray Wyatt's return, slow computer. Oh, I forgot to mention, guys. Bray Wyatt represents Bray Wyatt represents COVID-19, right? And I can't remember the actual connection, but hold on. So there was this really interesting video released right before his return last year. And look what date they released it, guys. October 7th last year, which is the day I was just talking about. And look at this. The White Rabbit, this was for Bray Wyatt. And there's the X. That could stand for XRP and all the X stuff. And, Twitter is now X. And look, an explosion. And then you hear them screaming. So yeah. And then Bray Wyatt dies in a rabbit year, right? This is a rabbit year. And he was born in a rabbit year. And when did JFK die? He died in a rabbit year. So what might happen to Biden in a rabbit year, right? And just notice that the rabbit goes into a hole. And what happens when you die, guys? You go into a hole. Okay, so this was also symbolizing his death because, again, the rabbit goes into the hole and then there's an explosion, right? See? Which reminds me of like the directed energy weapons causing a fire, right? So anyway, that is all I think I have. And that's all obviously connected to the song by Jefferson Airplane, which is also why I think Biden might go in an airplane. Kevin is saying that Edgar's case readings predicted JFK's death. Interesting. Yeah, there could be a whole video on rabbits, right? Rick James is mentioning the Jimmy Stewart White Rabbit movie with Jimmy Stewart, 1956. Okay. Yeah, and Bray Wyatt was very known for having clues. In fact, before his return, he was using this secret code that they used gematria to decode when he was going to return. October 14th, they posted, WWE posted something, and then it was like the letters forget what it was, JNV. Yeah, so I want you guys to notice this. So right before Bray Wyatt's return, they posted this cryptic clue, a puzzle for the WWE fans to solve, and it was the letters JNV. And the reason that they did that is because they were using gematria. The date that Bray Wyatt ended up returning was 10/14/22. And the code that they had to solve was the letters JNV, and the letters JNV equals 10/14/22. That was the date he came back. That was the day he came back to SmackDown for the first time. You see what I mean, guys? I mean, they're using gematria right in front of people's faces. Yeah, you're right. His Firefly Funhouse, it has the rabbit always, and the rabbit gets killed a lot of times in that Firefly Funhouse. And then he has the witch, he has the buzzard, and he has the pig. And he's always and Bray Wyatt was always talking about consumers. He was always, you notice how he was a little bit overweight, like he ate too much, he consumed too much. I think that was part of their ritual because Bray Wyatt was kind of overweight and he was always talking about consumers, over consuming. As a matter of fact, if you watch a lot of his videos, he's always talking about these people that are consuming and they're not doing anything but consuming. And then, of course, Bray Wyatt was kind of overweight, and he had in his Firefly Funhouse. Hold on. So in his Firefly Funhouse, he had all these characters, right? He has the pig, which represents somebody who's gluttonous or consumes a lot. He had the witch, which represents magic that he used. Here's the fiend, which represents his demonic character. And of course, guys, here's the rambling rabbit. And then the buzzard. All these things. And look at this, guys. He had a script where he had a puppet, Vince McMahon with demon horns. And remember, Vince McMahon, he died on Vince McMahon's birthday. Right? So, yeah, useless eaters. Exactly. That's what he called. Rick James, thank you for reminding me. In one of his videos, he called people useless eaters. And guess what Bray Wyatt's nickname was? Eater of Worlds. Oh, and I forgot to mention, his theme song was I've Got the Whole World in My Hands. Just go back and watch the Ultimate Deletion match if you guys want to really see all the symbolism, because even in that video they show him with the whole world in his hands. But yeah, they used to sing to him. As a matter of fact, at the ritual symbolism last night, that the dedication to him, they sang he's got the whole world in his hands. Yep, and he dies on Vince McMahon's birthday, and Vincent Kennedy, which connects to John F. Kennedy, right, who died in a rabbit year, just like Bray Wyatt died in a rabbit year. Actually, you know what I think this rambling rabbit represents? I think this rambling rabbit represents Joe Biden. That's just my thoughts on this, is that the rambling rabbit is Joe Biden, because Biden kind of rambles, doesn't he? Yeah, so thanks, Evie. Yeah, you're right. I don't spend a lot of time when I'm not researching this dark stuff. You know, it's like I'm definitely spending time like really getting into, not doing that, essentially. The opposite of that. Peace and God's and love and, just, yeah, you got to balance it out. That's for sure. But you're right. God's ultimate deletion of Satan. That's kind of the symbolism here, because Bray Wyatt, he gets thrown into the lake of reincarnation, but he doesn't reincarnate. He gets deleted for eternity, just like in the Bible, Satan, gets deleted. The Fiend character, I had. Thanks for reminding me of that also. The Fiend character debuted right before COVID. Okay, so the Fiend character debuted on July 15th, 2019. Okay, so that's something I want to show you guys. July 15th, 2019, when his COVID Fiend character debuted, right? His demonic COVID Fiend, whatever you want to call it, Mark of the Beast. Yeah, that's a good catch. Kobe equals 157. He debuted on 157. Good catch. Anyways, from the day the Fiend character debuted to the day of the pandemic being declared, watch this, guys. This is more proof that he was representing COVID. There was 241 days between the debut of the Fiend character to the declaration of the COVID. And what is 241, guys? 241 is the 53rd prime. And what is 53 in Gematria? Hold on a second. Boom. So 53 prime days before COVID pandemic, the Fiend debuts, and COVID equals 53. And just notice that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to say here, but the 53 is the most important. Like I said, from the debut of the Fiend to COVID declaration was 241, the 53rd prime, and COVID equals 53. I remember I showed you that his name, Bray Wyatt, equals COVID-19. Bray Wyatt equals COVID-19 equals heart attack. And they said he died of a heart attack that was brought on by COVID-19. What a joke. So yeah, the Fiend. There's a lot more to say, guys, but I think I've hit all the points. Thank you for you guys reminding me of stuff. Appreciate that. Yeah, he did die on 19 date numerology, like COVID-19. And again, he died. I forgot to tell you guys, he wrestled on Kobe Bryant's death date. Look at this. He wrestled at the 33rd Royal Rumble. Remember, I told you that Royal Rumble equals 36, like Bray Wyatt. But he wrestled as The Fiend on Kobe Bryant's death date. See, look, right here. The Fiend Bray Wyatt retained his Universal Championship on Kobe Bryant's death date. And then Bray Wyatt dies on Kobe Bryant Day. So, yeah, I mean, what's the chances of that? He wrestled on Kobe Bryant's death date, and then he dies on Kobe Bryant Day. And you can even see him here in the poster. Look, The Fiend right there. He wrestled on Kobe Bryant's death date. And that was at the beginning of COVID, right? And we know that Kobe Bryant was very connected to that as well. Remember, Kobe was buried in Corona del Mar, right? Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that compliment. I really appreciate you. Yeah, there's probably a lot to talk about with these other wrestlers like Edge. Remember Edge, the wrestler, he created the Judgment Day, and we currently have the Judgment Day running WWE. There's a lot to say, but you guys know I decode WWE heavily because the rituals are very easy to see, just like with this case. I was decoding Bray Wyatt earlier this year before anyone ever was talking about him and his death, right? I talked about the pitch black match so much. And then look what happens. I didn't think to even look about him dying. I should have looked into that. I might have been able to literally predict his death, but I just didn't look into it. I didn't think they would kill him off, honestly, but that's what they did. Or maybe he's still alive. Maybe he went underground. You remember in that video I showed you, yeah, Trump was in WWE as well. Thank you, Evie. Trump was known for wrestling Vince McMahon. Yeah, that's a good point. And he dies on Trump, or on the day that Trump was indicted, and he dies on Vince McMahon's birthday. Wow, that's a great connection as well. Yes, guys, Bob Barker did die today. Yeah, you kind of wonder, guys, if remember I told you that Bray Wyatt was part of the Wyatt family, and he had 4 members, and 2 of those members have now died. Brody Lee and Bray Wyatt. So there's only 2 left. So maybe the other 2 are going to die at some point soon. I don't know. Trump shaved McMahon's head. Yes, he did. That was at WrestleMania. When was that? While you guys are bringing that up, I might as well talk about it. Trump shaves Vince's head. Oh, and this comes all together, guys. This comes all together. Because you see this guy over here, on the right, his name is the Almighty, Bobby Lashley. Now, the last guy that Bray Wyatt threatened before he went off WWE TV, before he died, was this guy, Bobby Lashley. And on Vince McMahon's birthday, Bray Wyatt dies, and the same day Trump is being indicted. And then the last guy that Bray Wyatt actually threatened on live TV was this same guy. And they're all involved in this match. And guess what match it was, guys? WrestleMania 23, like we're in the year 23. I did research on this. I just don't remember it. Yes, you're right. Bobby Lashley is currently managing a group called the Street Profits. Yes. Now, Bobby Lashley equals the Almighty. Well, let me show you this, okay? Bobby Lashley equals 128, right? He's known, his nickname is the Almighty. So do you see that this connection, guys? Notice that Bobby Lashley equals 128, and his nickname, the Almighty equals 128. Bray Wyatt's last match in WWE was on 128. And the very last person that Bray Wyatt ever talked to on live TV wrestler was Bobby Lashley, the Almighty. Do you see the symbolism, guys? COVID tried to threaten the Almighty, and the Almighty was the last person he ever threatened, right? Do you get it? Do you guys get that? Do you guys get the symbolism of Bobby Lashley being the last man that this demon ever threatened? Okay? Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, okay, was the last person. And guess what? The last thing he did, the last thing he did to Bobby Lashley, Bray Wyatt, he did the Muscle Man dance. Boom. I'm glad you guys reminded me, because this is absolutely insane. So I just want you guys to focus on the 128s here. Oh my gosh, I keep messing up. Anyways, let me just pull up this one. So the 128 is the big number here, right? So Bray Wyatt's last match was on 128. Okay. And the last time he appeared on TV, he did the Muscle Man dance, which equals 128. And the guy that he did the Muscle Man dance to is Bobby Lashley, who equals 128. And his nickname is the Almighty, which also equals 128. Do you see how improbable that is? Also, his wife, Bray Wyatt's wife's name equals 128 as well. So this number is big with this. But what's the chances? Hold on. Here it is, guys. Bray Wyatt's last appearance on WWE TV was the Muscle Man dance, and he did it to Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, and all those things equal 128. And his last match in WWE was on 128. Perfect. So don't threaten the Almighty. That's what they're telling you here. Don't threaten the Almighty, because you're not going to live to see another day. That's exactly what they're telling us. Because there's no other thing I could think to here. I mean, you have this demon guy that plays the demon, right? Or the devil, whatever you want to say he represents, COVID. And he threatens the Almighty, and that's the last thing that he ever did on TV. And then now he's dead, right? So anyways, I also forgot to mention, guys, that to go with all the other 36s, Bray Wyatt died 3 months and 6 days after his son's birthday. And his son's name is Nash6. Okay, so all these words connect to Bray Wyatt, right? His name, he died of a heart attack, COVID-19, Firefly, but he died. Let me show you this. One last thing, guys. He died. His son was born on May 18th, like 185, like Donald John Trump equals 185. And he died after his son's birthday. Man, this computer drives me nuts, guys. I can't even click stuff. All right, so he died 3 months and 6 days after his son's birthday. And he died of heart attack, which equals 36, and his name equals 36. So that's just another connection with 36. And his son's name, if you go to his wife, This is Bray Wyatt's fiance, not his wife. They were going to get married. Look at when she was born, guys. Bray Wyatt's fiance was born on March 10th, one day before the COVID was declared, right? Her name is JoJo, and her son with Bray Wyatt is named Nash 6. Look at this, Nash 6. So his name is Nash 6, like gnashing teeth, weeping and gnashing of teeth. Look at that. His name Nash equals COVID. Just like he died 241 days he debuted the Fiend character 241 days before COVID, and that's the 53rd prime, and COVID equals 53, and his son's name equals 53, like COVID. Look. Nash, his son, and COVID. Almost a direct match. And he dies 3 months and 6 days after his son, and his son's name matches COVID. Okay? But anyway, if you type in his full name, watch this. Nash 6 Rotunda, which is his full name, you get 222, kind of like Wuhan coronavirus equals 222, kind of like World Economic Forum equals 222, and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, that's his full son's name equals 222. Wuhan coronavirus 222. I'll show you. So look at that. Wuhan coronavirus and his son's full name are a direct match in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And COVID and his son's first name are a direct match in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. So if you guys don't think that this guy is completely tied to COVID, I think I've proven it now. Yeah, World Economic Forum equals 222 as well. Gematria 8, if you want to donate to my Buy Me a Coffee link, yeah, super chats sometimes don't work on here. But I also have a Buy Me a Coffee link at the top if you can't do that. But I appreciate you. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to jump off here. It's now 10:50 p.m. in Albania. Hey, Joseph, welcome. I was just in Joseph's chat. You missed most of the stream, brother, but glad that you were able to make a bit. I just was talking about the 222, how Bray Wyatt's son equals Wuhan coronavirus, and how Bray Wyatt's son's first name equals COVID, and how, event 201 equals 222 as well. But if you missed it, I know you missed it, Joseph, but Bray Wyatt's Fiend character represents COVID, and his Fiend character debuted 53 prime days, 241 days, which is the 53rd prime, before COVID, and COVID equals 53. His Fiend character is a representation of COVID. And you'll like this one. The last person this is for Joseph, who just got to the chat. The last person that Bray Wyatt the Demon ever threatened was the Almighty. And after he threatened the Almighty, he never saw TV ever again. He died. So that just shows you that demons don't threaten the Almighty, right? It's all connected to this. I mean, again, I told you that he did the Muscle Man dance, which equals 128, and the guy he did it to, Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, equals 128. So yeah, demons can't threaten the Almighty, apparently, because then they don't see the light of day after that. So that WWE actually gave us somewhat decent symbolism in that aspect. I'm not saying they do that. Most times they give us demonic stuff, but yeah, everyone go check out Joseph Aquaviva's channel if you guys aren't already. And thank you, Joseph, for bringing more people from your channel over here, because I had a bunch of new subscribers, and I'm very grateful to you and all of your subscribers and everyone that's part of this channel. We're all here together fighting against this this reality of satanic forces. So yeah, thanks, Joseph. Thanks everyone. Evie, you say you bought 3 coffees. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. So yeah, guys, I mean, much love, guys. I don't think I should stay on too much longer. I want this video to be rewatchable for those of the people that haven't watched it yet. So oh, thank you, Kelly, for subbing to Joseph. I'm glad that I could actually give him some subscribers, because he did a good shout. He did a shout out to me. Actually, I'm going to do what he did for me. It's only fair. Just going to have to ignore my slow computer. I'm going to pull up Joseph's channel. He's been doing lots of decodes. Hey, look, guys, you can see that I'm live on my own YouTube. Actually, you know what? You're probably down in my things, because I always watch your videos, so you're always right there in my bottom. So here it is, guys. Joseph Aquaviva 2222. And yeah, go support him. If you guys can support him, just like you support me, and vice versa, right? And we support each other. So with that being said, I think that will be it, guys. Like I said, I don't want to make it too long, and I don't think there's anything else I can really talk about right now that would make sense. But yeah, if you guys would hit the like button on your way out, and try to get me to 100 likes if you can before I don't know how many likes I have right now, because my chat's not updated. But thank you guys for all you guys do. I appreciate you guys so very much. Much love from Albania, and to wherever you are in the world. Have a nice evening, and God bless you all. Okay? I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care out there.